So I was just going to do a quick video. This is my 2015 570 RZR. Actually supposed to be selling it today. I finally bought me a 1000 Wildcat. I'll show some video on that later maybe, but before this goes, I just thought I'd do a little quick walk around and review. When I bought it 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, it was 50 inches wide and pretty much stock other than a roof, and it had the no limit 14-inch red wheels and 26-inch bighorns, which are on it now. And I bought it, had 220 miles on it. It's got about 2100 now, so I've put around 2,000 miles on it, and it's been a really good machine. I put the Super ATV conversion on it to widen it out, give it a better ride. It comes with the preload adjustable threaded shocks. It's got a winch on it. I put the 570S fender flares on it from Polaris. And I've been really happy with this machine, really, and kind of have some regrets letting it go, but just want to try something different. And so it's got the Polaris full doors on it, which I bought used, and they open like a car door. They're not like a lot of the doors. As far as problems I've had with the machine, it's been really good if you ask me. I've had several wheel burns in it, but the riding we do is, hills and mud and eastern Kentucky, Tennessee, and some eastern Kentucky. And we have some pretty rocky, rough trails, and this thing has pretty much always gone where the thousands and everything else go. I'm a big guy. It's always packed me around just fine. The steering's all original. Well, the rack is. I've obviously changed the tie rods when I did the conversion. I had to replace the U-joints on the drive shaft once. The drive shaft yokes have some play in them, but when it had 200 miles on it, they had play in them. I don't really like how Polaris does their tolerances as far as their splines and stuff go on their driveline parts, but I've not had any real issues from it. The engine has been great. I had to put a top end on it 800 miles, which was because when I bought it from the dealer, I guess they must have had somebody that didn't know what they were doing, pressure wash it. And they had pressure washed into the air intake, which is here, and that's your belt intake. And or I may have them mixed up. Anyway, those are your intakes. You can't wash into those. And so apparently I got it home. I got sick that night. Didn't get to look at it. It was really cold out. And because they pressure washed it after I had agreed to purchase it and looked it over. And long story short, they pressure washed a bunch of water into the intake track and pushed the filter down into the bottom of the air box, and got mud. The engine ate a little bit of muddy water, and it burned a little bit of oil after that, and the oil never was super clean. And so I ended up putting a top end on it myself. It wasn't super expensive, pretty easy job on these, and it's been flawless ever since. So I don't blame that on the machine at all. Thanks Lexington Motorsports for not taking care of me on that issue. I left a bad review on their page 4 years ago when that happened, and I still won't go back. I put one belt in the machine about 1,500 miles. It's the Gates belt. It's not the carbon belt. It's just their standard belt. I think they're about 60 bucks, and I've been really happy with that belt. The original Polaris belt made some noise for a while, and I don't really know why. I don't know if it had a glaze on it or what, but I've never actually just slipped the belt to the point of smoking. I'm sure I've been a little bit tough on it a few times rock crawling and stuff, but regardless, I've not had any real belt troubles out of the machine, but the original one started to come apart at 1,500 miles, and I heard it smacking in the belt case, so I just took it easy and made it back to the truck, and when I got home I changed the belt, and that was that. I haven't had any more trouble. So I actually bought another spare Polaris belt to keep with me, but to do it again I think I would have bought another Gates. I'm really happy with the performance of the belt. Maybe it won't go 1,500 miles like the original belt, or maybe it'll go longer, I don't know, but so far with about 600 miles on it, it's been real good. Trying to think of what else I should say about this thing. I mean, it's been pretty problem free. I put one set of brakes on it. Like I said, several wheel bearings. That's probably been my biggest maintenance item. Put both diff seals in the front on both axles. That's the only oil leaks I ever had. Never had any problems with four-wheel drive, never any overheating issues. I did relocate the circuit breaker for the fan because it did overheat once, and it was because the circuit breaker connections got dirty. So I soldered longer wires on them and moved the circuit breaker up behind the driver's seat up high so it would be out of the mud. I would recommend doing that. I didn't do it until I had problems with it. When I did have problems on the trail, I simply just wiggled the connections, and it was, the fan kicked on, it cooled off, and I rode the rest of the day, just kept an eye on it. But before my next ride, I went ahead and relocated it so I didn't have any more problems from it. Some of the paint is peeling on the frame and starting to surface rust some. I'm not happy about that. I've had some older Polaris machines that never had that issue. So I don't know if something they changed in their paint process or what, but I mean, it could be touched up, no problem. It's not affecting the frame yet, but that was something I was going to do if I wasn't selling it. Maybe some POR 15 or something like that. I think that's going to be most of the issues I've had with the machine. Like I said, it hadn't, I haven't abused it, but I always took care of it. I always kept up on maintenance. I ran Rotella T6 540 oil, synthetic. Usually change the air filter once a year, as long as it, was close to needing it. But it's been really good, so I'm just hoping my new used one will be pretty good as well. If it caused me a lot of trouble, I'll probably regret getting rid of this a little bit, but that's all right. I'm ready for something a little more power and a little more suspension. So, but I would recommend this machine to anybody really. People act like it's for beginners. You can drive this thing wherever you want to go, pretty much. Stock, they have pretty low ground clearance. But with the bigger tires and a lift kit, which is what I started out with before I did the suspension conversion, you really don't have a lot of clearance problems. The ride isn't the best with it at stock 50 inches, and I widened it out and that helped a lot. But I've ridden the Wildcat X once, and it's a lot better ride. Feels more stable. It's just kind of a step up when it comes to suspension and wheelbase and all that, if you're doing anything very rough. So I'll start this thing up real quick. I've not started it in a couple weeks. Never had any trouble starting it in cold or anything. People like to talk about Polaris, but you know, and I think some of their stuff maybe has quirks and issues, but most machines do. But I've been really happy with this thing. I just want to do a little walk around review of it before I let it go. I'm not, you know, the guy says he's coming to get it, so we'll see if it sells, but it is for sale if he doesn't buy it. But I just wanted to make a review in case anybody's curious about these machines. They're a little bit overshadowed by all the bigger machines, so you don't hear a lot about them. You know, people act like it's a kid's toy. I'm telling you right now, unless you're in the dunes or somewhere where you really need the horsepower, these are excellent machines. With that said, I'm gonna shut this video down. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I did all the maintenance myself and everything, so I should be able to answer some questions if anybody has any general questions about the 570. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.